Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth deep dive of the Open Web Foundry 7. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Cedric, who is the founder of Textury.org and also an Arweave core team member. And Textury makes developer tools for building on the permaweb. So he's going to be talking about Community XYZ, ArcB, as well as our local. And if you guys have any questions, we'll do a short mingle session afterwards as well, in case you have any questions for Cedric. So Cedric, you can come up to the stage and start telling us a little bit more about some of the Textury tools.
Thank you, Jesse. Hey, everyone. So yeah, as Jesse mentioned, my name is Cedric. I'm a developer advocate at Arweave and also the founder of Textury. At Textury, what we do is that we create developer tools, libraries, and applications, mostly for other developers, for them to easily interact with the permaweb and with the Arweave network. So let me share my screen. Perfect. So yeah, a few of the tools that we have is Blockweave, which is a JavaScript TypeScript SDK for the permaweb. We have community.xyz, which is a decentralized governance for profit-sharing communities and also profit-sharing tokens. So I'll be showing that one in a couple of seconds. We have ArcB, which allows you to easily deploy your permaweb dApps, your files, images, videos, pretty much anything to the permaweb. We have RDB, which allows you to interact with Arweave just like if it were a database by using a couple of functions. So it makes it easier than learning GraphQL, which is what Arweave uses, the gateways use in the backend. And we have our local, which is a local testnet for Arweave. So let me show you first community.xyz. So yeah, community.xyz allows you to easily interact with profit-sharing communities, which are very similar to what DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, are for Ethereum. So you can create your own profit-sharing communities, you can interact with those communities, and you can also be part of other communities. And the platforms, the dashboard allows you to vote, create votes, mint new tokens, and burn tokens. Community.xyz. So this is the dashboard that you will see the first time that you create your community, or if you joined a community already. You have your community ID, which is in fact the SmartWave contract transaction ID of that community. So the entire profit sharing communities work with SmartWave contracts. And yeah, so this is the dashboard that you will see by default. And then you have the tokens list. You are able to vote, as mentioned. You are able to create new votes to mint, to burn vote, to set a configuration of your own community. And also you can have indicative votes. Okay, so let me go back. And I'm going to share my screen to VS Code. So we will start coding, and I'll be explaining a few of the other tools that we have at the same time. Here I have a very basic TypeScript file, and I have installed some NPM packages. So let me show you, it's here. What I have right now, I'm using the types node, TS node, and TypeScript because I want to run TypeScript directly. And the other things that you will need, it's RDB, our local suites, which is a set of a few tools, a few functions, to easily interact with our local. So you don't need to remember all the endpoints that our local has. And we have Blockweave, which is the SDK. Okay, so As you can see here, I have our local suites, blockweave, and RDB. This example that we will be having today is for you to run as a test. So for you to easily test any dApp that you want to create. And in fact, you can test it. You can test this also, our local. Sorry. You can test this also to deploy files for your dApps and for your SmartWave contracts too, by using our local. So you don't need to connect to an online testnet. RWave by default doesn't have any by the core team, but they are 2 or 3 testnets that exist now. And all of those testnets, in fact, are using our local, but online instead of locally. By default, our local is opened on the port 1984. So that's what we will be using here. But in fact, you can set any port that you want here. Okay. Then what we need is to instantiate a blockweave. New blockweave. And blockweave requires an URL. The URL, normally, if it's online, you will use rweave.net or rweave.live. Both of them are gateways that are online and active on the permaweb. So in this case, what we want is to connect to localhost 1984. Okay. Then let's create a wallet because we will need that for the suites tool. So wallet await blockweave.wallets.generate. This will generate a brand new wallet for you. And then we can start suites. New suites. And suites require an SDK, so or rweave or blockweave, which are the 2 SDKs that are available. In this case, we are using blockweave, and also the wallet. And with that, you are already, oh, sorry, no, not yet. We need to start our local. So let's start it. Local.start. With that, you have an instance of our local running right now, and you will be able to interact with it. Even if we started blockweave before starting our local, that will work. But when it will try to interact with it, it will fail. So we can put it on top, which makes more sense. But in fact, even here, it would work. And then the next part of your code needs to be after that. So let's console log the network just to see if it's running. Await blockweave.network.getinfo, let's say. And then let's close our local again. Okay. As you can see, our local started on the port 1984. And then we have a few information that our local returns by default. So here this call, get info, all it does is that it goes to the endpoint -info. So in fact, if you try this also online, it will also work. So as you can see, we get the information. Let's just give it a quick try without using our local. HTTPS rweave.net. So even if we started our local, we aren't connecting to it right now. We are connecting to mainnet. And as you can see, we have the height, the current height, the block, and the peers. Okay, let's go back to localhost. Perfect. Let me close this. Okay, so in fact, right after this part, you can start running your tests. Now let's go and create a transaction. With our local, you need to first add funds to your wallet, which is the exact same thing online, but on mainnet, you need to add funds by sending it from one wallet to another. Here with the Switch tool, you are able to add funds directly to a brand new generated wallet. So await Switch that fund wallet. Here, what we are doing is that instead of sending AR, we are sending Winston. So Winston is 1 to the power of 12, and that's why I'm adding it like this instead of writing 1 and then 12 zeros. Okay, and let's see if that worked. So cross-res wait blockweave.api.get. I think it's wallet. Yep, I need the wallet address. So let's get that const wallet address blockweave.wallets. Okay, so here what we generate is a JSON key file. Well, not a file here, it's a JSON object of the wallet itself, which you can save on your local machine, and then that will be your wallet JSON key file, the same as the one that you generate when you create a wallet online by going to arweave.net or by using one of the wallet extensions that exist for the browsers. Okay, then we get the wallet address by using JSON JWK to address with the wallet. And yeah, that should work. Okay, rest.data. Let's see that. Yeah, as you can see, here's the balance, which is 1 to the power of 12. Perfect. Next step, let's create a transaction. So create a new transaction. When you create transactions on Arweave, you can create them to send funds to someone else, to another wallet address. And in this case, what we will be doing is create a transaction, but to send data to the permaweb. So to store data permanently on Arweave. So we will use data. If you were to send to another wallet, you need to have the target and not balance, quantity, I think. Yeah, and quantity. So quantity 1 to the power of 12, for example, and then the target, which will be another wallet address. And this one, if I'm correct, needs to be a string. Yeah, okay. But in this case, we aren't doing that. So let's change this to the data. Whoops, sorry, data. And let's say hello permaweb. Okay, for now, we can just create a transaction like this. Then we need to sign it and we need to post it. When you sign the transaction, you will have access to the transaction ID. So we don't need this, tx.sign. With this, you already have the transaction ID, which you can use, in this case, even before posting it, to be able to store it, for example, on your own database, or to be able to show it to the end user even before it's posted, in case you don't want to post it right away. In that case, you will need also to call post, tx.post, after when you are ready to post that transaction. In this case, what we will be using is sign and post. So we don't need to have two separated calls. With just one, it will do both. And that will work. Okay, so one thing that I want to implement, now we have used our local suites already, and block with. Now it comes for the part of RDB. For RDB, it's best to have, in fact, it's the way to interact with the permaweb is by using GraphQL, as I mentioned before. And with RDB, it allows you to start using it right away. So let me create a new instance of RDB. I think RDB needs the block with instance. So let's start it here. RDB, new, RDB, and yeah, the block with instance. And that's it for now. Okay. And to be able to interact with RDB, you need to use tags. So tx add tag. This allows you to search for a tag name and the value of that tag. On Arweave, we have some defaults that are called app name, example, and also app version. But and then the name of the app, for example. But it's best to use the defaults, app name and app version, at least, and then having other tags that you want to add specifically for that specific transaction. So for example, an app name for this one will always be example, but then you can have another tag that says the date or something like that. Let's just go with this one. And now what we will do is to mine that specific transaction that we posted. Wait, suites.mine. Suites.mine is to be able to mine that transaction on your local testnet. But online, you will wait a couple of minutes to have your transaction completely mined. Okay. Now, so let me add here, mine the TX. Get the transaction. So now let's grab that transaction that we just mined by using RDB. Result RDB.search. Let's search for transactions. Other things that you can search for are blocks, block, or a singular transaction. In this case, let's go with transactions, even if we are just searching for one, because I want to show how you can get just one by getting the transactions list. Let's use the app name example. We don't need to use the version right now. And find one. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show. You can do a find. A find will search for the latest 10 transactions that have that app name. Find all will search for everything, which in a huge database with a lot of data might take a while. So it's always best to do a find and then having a loop or something like that and getting all the other data when you need it only. And in this case, let's just do find one. Okay, and RDB transaction. What am I missing? RDB search. Oh, I think they wait. Yeah, okay, perfect. As an RDB transaction that will give us the typings that we need. And we can do result.id, for example, to get the ID of that specific transaction that we just created. Unable to connect to the wallet. Okay, something's missing. Let me see. Sign a transaction. We have the wallet, we funded it, we mined. Okay. Let me see. Okay, the error happens after minting. We get the balance that worked. We have some issue here somewhere. Oh yeah, I'm missing the wallet here. When you create a transaction by using blockweave.create transaction, you need to provide a wallet. That wallet will be the one that will be used to sign the transaction and also to to encode all the data that you will be posting to Arweave. So let's try this again. Forgot to save. Yeah, perfect. Here it is. So we get the wallet, we show the balance, and then we post the transaction, which has this ID with the owner, the tags that we set. We didn't send a quantity to someone. That's what we wanted, and everything else is there. As you can see, we return the data app name example, and it also shows the version. So the tags that you set, it will be shown here. Perfect. Then we mine new block. You can also set for mine. One thing that I many times forget is that you can set the amount of blocks that you want to mine. So for example, for a SmartWave contract, if you want to let's say lock tokens for 25 blocks, then you can say 25 or 26 here to make sure that the next step, your block is already over if you need to test that. So as you can see, we get the result.id, which is exactly the same one as the one that was posted here. We can also verify that by doing tx.id and also comparing both the transaction ID that we posted and the result of the transaction ID that we received. And both are the same, and it's true that both are the same. What you can do also is that you can get the data of that specific transaction. So let me show it here, maybe. I'm going to comment this out. And to get the data, what you need to do is get the data from the transaction ID. So you need to have the transaction ID. That's why it's important to store it or here or by grabbing it from the result. And then we do blockweave.api.get, and then result.id, console.log, res.data. Let's try this out. And here's the data. Hello, PermaWeb. So yeah, that's how easy it is to interact with your own R local instance, to be able to test everything. It's very important that you test everything before deploying it on the PermaWeb, because once it's there, it will be there pretty much forever, permanently. So yeah, it's very good to have your local test done previously. With that, you can also test sending files, sending images, sending pretty much anything that you want, and also for you to learn on how to interact using Blockweave, using RDB, and RLocal. Feel free to find those on npmjs.com and also on our GitHub at github.com. Let me add it here. github.com/textory And yeah, it will be our local, RDB, blockweave, and more tools that we have also available in there for you as a developer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cedric. That was a very, very good, very straightforward introduction to the Arweave tools, and I'm glad we got that recorded so we could just point to all the new and existing developers over there.
Thanks, JC.
You're getting it looks like you're getting a lot of good feedback in the comments as well. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, we're going to move into the mingle session now. But thank you guys for being here, and we'll be sticking around for a little bit longer. So see you down there. See you guys.
Bye.